Hey, everybody. So we are back with another episode of the Raad Life. Um, as a lot of you have been sequestered, I know for myself, I have used delivery service. You know, the restaurants are trying to stay in business. They've shifted and pivoted their approach to where they're servicing a lot more pickup orders. There's been some major changes relevant to the restaurant industry that will be interesting to see if they stick around after the coronavirus threat is over, such as the fact that in the state of California now, when you order food for pickup, you can also order alcohol for pickup, which was unheard of before. And we'll see if they're going to put that genie back in the bottle afterwards, because there's such margins in alcohol sales. But that being said, I wanted to reach out to a friend of mine who actually is the owner with his family of the Olive Tree restaurant in Anaheim's Little Arabia, Alan Abdo. And I want to find out how it's been. It's been a week. So it gives us a little bit of a chance to check in with people and see how they have pivoted. What has it been like this week? What does it look like now that basically the president has extended the duration of the social distancing and what have you for at least the end of April, and who knows if that's not going to get extended again. So we're in for the long haul here, it looks like, and such businesses that are dependent on foot traffic and people coming in, like restaurants, they're going to get hit really hard, and the businesses of restaurants are hard as it is. So with that being said, I see Alan is in the waiting room. I'm going to bring him in here, and I'm going to have him share with us what he has done. Alan, are you there?
I am here.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
I am good. I was saying that, you know, and under normal conditions, restaurant business is difficult. It's challenging. I know you've had your own challenges because you went through an expansion, and we'll cover that in a minute. But that a lot of restaurants have tried now this last week to pivot. I'm sure you've done the same, where it's more a focus on orders and deliveries and curbside pickups. I was talking briefly, although it doesn't apply to you guys probably, but I was talking about how there's been such severe changes, like in the state of California now. All of a sudden, people can actually, when they order pickup, they can also order alcohol, cocktails, things like that can now be basically part of that delivery, which was unheard of, that you would have off-premises drinking or consumption. And that we will probably live with ramifications of how this industry reacts and what happens during this period afterwards as well. And it's so difficult as an industry to begin with and challenging that, who knows how many people basically, how many establishments basically are victims to this major impact on the industry. So with that being said, I'm very familiar with the restaurant. I'm very familiar with the quality of the food. So for those who don't know, please share a little bit about Olive Tree, about how long you guys have been business. I said it's family owned. You've been in it for a while. A little bit of background, and then let's talk about how it's been this last week.
Yeah. So Olive Tree was started on March 5th, 2005. So we just had our 15-year anniversary right before this pandemic happened. And we were excited. My dad started the restaurant 15 years ago, and I took over from him 3.5 years ago. And I expanded the restaurant and moved it across the shopping center into a 4,000 square foot location, where we were before a really old, small 1,000 square foot location. These are all his recipes. The restaurant has gained a lot of accolades. We've won a lot of awards in Orange County. We were voted in the top 5 restaurants in all of Orange County at one time. We were voted Best Mediterranean Restaurant 4 times. Mm-hmm. Everybody's written about us, and we've done pretty well. And the restaurant is mostly like home cooking. It's not your typical Mediterranean restaurant where it's just kebabs, hummus, falafel, shawarma.
Right.
We did stuff. Our daily specials is really what we eat at home. Mm. Most people don't know that kebabs we eat on the 4th of July and Memorial Weekend. We don't really eat them every day.
Right.
And And so it, went really well for so many years, and we continued to grow, and, we have a, really good name, even to the point where a lot of restaurants opened around us that copy our daily specials. I see it as a sign of respect, but, it's also now become very competitive. So, transitioning into this new pandemic, it was, obviously I was worried, but I was hopeful. 15 years, we have a lot of customers.
Right.
Even if you don't see a customer for a while, they end up coming back. You end up seeing them at some point. You
Right.
have your people that eat daily or once a week and so on. And so I was like, we're going to be okay. We're going to be fine. And, I had a talk with my employees, and I'm like, look, we're going to get through this. We're going to be fine. After the third day, I let go probably 80% of the staff.
Wow.
It just didn't, because I'm known. I mean, yes, we used to have to go and people would pick up. I never delivered except through the, Grubhub, DoorDash, and Uber Eats app. And those weren't really big because I'm known as, I don't want to say fine dining, but not casual dining, kind of in between both of those. And, it's a sit down restaurant. You get served. It's a nice place. It's a family restaurant. And so, we get busy in the evenings, and it was a nice little gig we had going. And now I had to change completely what we were doing. Now all of a sudden I was a to-go restaurant, and my prices are not really to like a fast food restaurant.
Right.
And so I was hopeful, and then that hope, being hopeful turned into being really worried. We have employees that have been with us for 12 and 13 and 14 years with us, and it's hard to come to them and say, hey, I can't do it.
Right.
I'm not firing you, but we're on hold right now. And, we're down to 3 employees, and then me and my dad work all day. The people that clean the restaurant at night, the line cooks that we have in the evening, I no longer have them. And we have one person that cleans our pots and pans in the morning. So I had to let go probably 90% of my staff. And it's down to 2 people. One person that washes our pots and pans after we cook. They work for 3 hours. And then our prep lady, she works for 3 hours. And then my server is on call. He basically he lives close by, and if I get a delivery, I'll call him, he'll come by, he'll pick it up, he'll go deliver. And then it's just me and my dad the whole day. And it's not much business. And overnight, 15 years, overnight, it just completely changed our business. And I don't know how long we can survive like this.
Well, let's paint a bit of a picture for people. How, because you expanded into a larger facility. When was it? Like about 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago?
3 years ago.
Oh, it's been 3 years. Okay. So just to give people a perspective, how many seats restaurant are you? Like,
I can fit up to 200 people comfortably here.
So it's a large space for.
Yes, it is.
Right.
I mean, when you go from 1,000 square feet to 4,000 square feet, a beautiful big patio.
Yeah.
With that comes more expense. I mean, your rent goes up, your electric bill goes up, everything goes up. You need more employees for this place. So.
Sure, absolutely. It's a totally different business model, and and your food costs too because of the type of food that you basically do. I mean,
right.
You usually don't think of your food as a pickup order. I mean, yes, if you're one of those people that really must have that frike or whatever it is, that you accommodate them. But to your point, it's not something that you usually think of as a pickup. It's also, there's a cost because of the material itself that you're using, the food goods that you're using also, and the quality of the food goods that drives the price up. So even if you
also too, keep this in mind. Part of the success of the restaurant is it's not just cooking the food. We cook fresh daily. So what you eat today, I don't have tomorrow on my daily specials.
So it's also labor intensive in the preparation.
Very labor intensive. Your cooks have to be on point. they come in and they cook for the day.
Yeah.
And so, after 15 years, you kind of get how much food you need for that day, whether it's a holiday, like
Right.
on 4th of July, or whether it's Christmas Eve or Thanksgiving. We know how much food to cook. Now I have no clue. I have no idea. And I'm trying to get as any business I possibly can. So, we've cut probably our cooking amount, probably 75%.
Mm.
And we cook in little bits. So by, like, let's say 2 o'clock, if I sold good, I'll go cook another batch. So now, instead of cooking once a day for the day, now I cook 3-4 times a day in little increments, just so I can sell something, because
Well, and
somebody will
not and
call
not,
me and
and
say,
to control your waste too. You're right. Yeah.
right, and to control my waste, because, like I said, part of it is cooking fresh daily. That's why customers come to me, is they know at the end of the night, when before this pandemic, is when I did run out of food, my regular customers were like, "Oh, okay, that's okay. I'll be back tomorrow," because they knew I was cooking fresh tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like, if it was 10 o'clock and I closed at 10 o'clock and I still had food, my regular customer would be like, "Oh, they must have had a slow day or something."
Right. Right.
They know when I run out of my daily specials, they're
Right.
okay with that. The
Right.
hard part is explaining to new customers, how are you a restaurant and you run out of food?
Which was also part of your challenge when you expanded. I
Right.
remember you telling me that. So
Yeah.
so now you're basically saddled with this. So this week, how much? Just to again paint a picture, if you're comfortable with it, for those who are like not really aware, what kind of a business hit did you take this week, in terms of covers, in terms of orders? I mean, regular business, well, let's say, is
Staggering
100%.
number.
Yeah, what are you saying? Like, are you doing 10% of the business you're doing, 20% of the business you were doing
I'd say
before?
between 10 and 15%. Yeah. What I'm selling right now doesn't pay my rent, doesn't pay my electricity. The 3 hours that my employees are putting in, my server that's delivering on call, it'll pay for them. I don't know if I'll be able to put any money into my pocket. I doubt it. That's not paying rent and electricity. I have to dig into my savings, to keep this going, and I don't know how long I can keep this going. Just to say, hey, I survived this pandemic. I'm going to come out of this, and then everything's going to get back to normal. The other thing is, what I'm worried about is, even with this bailout that they're talking about, after we open up the country, I'm considered a luxury, to come out and dine out and bring your family.
Right.
Are people going to come out? And if they do come out, there's going to be a lot of people that are unemployed. Are they going to go out and spend money?
I've heard from certain people this week that would eat out almost 3, let's say, or 4 days out of the 5,
Right.
or at least one meal outside of the home, if not more.
Right.
They are now basically have adjusted to where they're preparing food, they're making food, they're stocking food in advance. They're realizing that there's a little bit more unity with family and people around the table. Sort of, there's a communal component to it, but they're also realizing there's a positive impact on their pocketbook by doing that. And so when you think about people that are being furloughed or laid off, when you're thinking about all the people that are going to be impacted, because I've also heard, like, not unsimilar to your situation, where people are laying off half of their workforce, 3/4 of their workforce, and that's only the first week. We've only been through this in 1 week, and then with the increase in the who complies, or who is qualifies for, like, unemployment, with now all of a sudden furloughed people also can get unemployment. How long is the system going to be able to sustain this? For those of us who remember 91 and 2008, this is not necessarily a new thing impact on the economy, but the difference here is that in the past it used to be limited to a region, limited to an area. Here it's global. I mean, it's not like Orange County is suffering, but Seattle is not, or Seattle is.
What hurt me too was Disneyland closing. I'm not far from Disneyland. I'm not far from the convention center. every time a convention comes in or people come into Disneyland,
Right.
you have people that are foodies that don't want to eat the commercial stuff like the Cheesecake Factories or whatnot. So they'll search, like, let's say, best Mediterranean restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
or even if you're in the Anaheim area and you search best restaurants in Anaheim, I'm on the first two articles on Google.
Mm-hmm.
One is the top 10, one is top 13, and I'm the only Mediterranean on that list. So I used to get people from Disneyland. Every time there was a convention, I would follow what
Right.
conventions were coming into town. So that weekend, I would cook a little bit more to make sure I had, because convention ends towards the evening, so I'd have enough food,
Right.
that evening. That's all gone. A
Well,
lot of
hotel stay is down.
big time.
Yeah.
I mean, I had one customer that's he's a doctor. He's opening a clinic out here, and he came to my restaurant. He started coming every day. And he came the other day and he goes, of course I can't sit. I'm like, no, I can't seat you. And he goes, I'm the only person in the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wow. I mean, he's the only person in the hotel.
Yeah, it's not the only story I've heard like that from the hospitality side of things.
Yeah.
So now we have an extension of this social distancing till the end of April. And who knows if that's when it's really going to end, because there's another aspect to this that I've been sharing with people is, even if, let's say, the coronavirus complies with the timeline, right? And says, oh, wait, hold on a second. I'm supposed to be evacuating the United States by the last week of April, because that's the timeline that was set by the government, right? And they're saying that, well, no, it might be a little sooner, but we're trying to be safe. So all that being the case, the psychology of this, where people that are now been basically sequestered for 6 weeks, at least at this point, right? They're not going to just stick their head out of the hole basically and go back to normal, even if there's even a normal to go to anymore, because this will be a new normal altogether after 6 weeks. I mean, they say that, it takes 30 days for a new habit to form.
Right.
We're about to have 30 days plus 2 weeks. Right. So not only will the new habits form, it will probably take and entrench a little bit. So what happens after this?
You're depressing me more.
Well, no, I'm just saying this is take some solace in the fact that you're not necessarily the only industry or the only person. We're all in this together, right? And there will be some stuff that comes out of it, like maybe closeness and kindness. Who knows, right? But the point is that even when it is done, with the day after Corona, when they say we have won the battle over Corona, it's going to take a while for people to still come out of this.
Right.
And we're
going to be. There's so much fear in us now that it's going to take a while for people to come out.
Right.
And the scary part about all of this is, like, even when you talk about they extended it to April 30th, there's a lot of I don't knows.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. There's a lot. And
that's what's scary about it. And so, like, even being in the restaurant business, a lot, and there's some stuff you don't know, but you can control it. And you were in control of your own destiny. Now you're not in control. I don't know what tomorrow is going to be. I don't know what Tuesday is going to be.
Right.
I don't know what my sales are going to be. I don't know if I even have to let go of the other two that I have. The longer this goes and the longer people are out of jobs, the more people don't have money to spend, and that's the I don't know that's really scary. Even if they open this up by Easter, let's say, like what we heard maybe might happen.
As a most recent piece of news, that's no longer the case. They said that was an aspirational thing.
When I heard that, and I'm not a big fan, but I was like, cool. Hey, April 12th, that would be great. It'll take us 2-3 weeks to get in motion. A lot of people will get their jobs back. Yeah. I was hopeful. I was rooting for them. And now today they came out and they said April 30th, and hopefully it'll come back before then. Obviously, I want everybody to be safe. I want for us to flatten this curve, and for all of us to get back on our feet and get going again, and start those engines again. But the I don't knows it's scary.
Yeah. The other thing too that's different this time around is, and I had a gentleman on earlier in the week that was talking about leadership in a crisis. Not pointing fingers on anything, but there's an aspect of comfort when somebody tells you, I don't know, but
Yeah.
we're doing our best to find out.
Right.
Versus not telling you that they don't know
Right.
and
Right.
acting like, oh, we know, we got it, and then
Yeah.
it'll be done by the end of the week, and then end of the week it's like, well, actually, no, we weren't really didn't say that to you. It's the end of next week.
Right.
That's the thing that adds anxiety and stress, because to say I don't know
Right.
and we're working on this, we are all in this together, those are
Right.
things that sometimes people need to hear more than actually the solution. They need
Right.
to have a little bit of a sense of empathy. So, I hate to kind of use this, but because it's associated with a particular person, but I feel your pain goes a long way in the middle of
Right. Yeah.
crisis, right? It's empathy, it's humility, it's the fact that you may not know, but you will do your best to basically find out, and find out as soon as you can.
Right.
This is an element that is missing in this particular situation. And again, I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just
Right.
saying that this is, in terms of characteristics, this is a missing thing this time around. With that being said, I do want to just kind of maybe like pitch it to what you are doing. And I know that you are, like I said, you're trying to increase your deliveries, and you sent me a bunch of stuff, so I wanted to share it. So
Yeah.
you're delivering, you're open. I love the hashtag, by the way.
Thanks.
Right? Yeah.
I actually made two big signs. This is actually the sign that we made. There's one on Brookhurst Street, and then there's one on the corner in the shopping center, so you catch it from both sides. And they're pretty huge signs, so when you drive by, you can actually see it.
Yeah. So if you happen to be in that neck of the woods, go take a picture of that and post it on the Raad Life Facebook page. But I mean, you are definitely not a person that minces words sometimes, and you let your emotions be seen and visible. So when I saw that hashtag, I was not surprised.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yes, of course, Alan. So,
I think this is one of the times most people would agree with me, though.
oh,
Right?
I think you got a big following on that one.
I'm a winner on this one.
Yeah, I think you're a winner on that one. Well, you're a winner in a lot of ways.
Thank
Let me ask you, relevant, because you have it even on there and you mentioned it, like with DoorDash and GrabHub and Uber Eats. Are those services still working?
They're still working. So my type of restaurant isn't big on these platforms. I've had them
Yeah.
just to be in the times. I'm not a fast food place. And so we'd get some business from it, not much. It did ramp up a little bit now, but it's not huge. But also too, they take a certain chunk out of your
Right.
sale. They pretty much take 30%. So in order for me to
Which in normal conditions was big. Now you're in dire conditions. It's even
right. I mean, I'd have them, like, if I was busy, I'd turn them off. If I was, there's certain times in the day where you're slow, you turn them on. Now they're on all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we try to get whatever we can. But in order for me to keep, like, my server busy, and I try to give them as many hours as I can. If you call us directly, and instead of me paying them the 30%, I could turn that around and give it to my server, who I can keep busy, in and out of the restaurant. At least he has something to do. He's not, he gets some kind of income in. But that's what it is right now. So we're doing deliveries, and you can order through the platform. We'll take it where we can get it. And I on social media, I'm pretty big. I have a pretty good following. I've been building it for a few years, and I advertise every single day. Before I would advertise every few days just to not to bore people. Mm-hmm. But we went from having a great business to almost now we're begging for people to come eat. I don't want somebody to come in and give me money for cash flow, but I would love for people to come try my food and spend some money here.
I'm gonna show some of that food. I want you to basically explain what it is, but before you do, because it's not something that's on here, I don't believe. Give people the website, because in case they want to find out more or what you have on your menu. What's the website?
So believe it or not, Raad, we don't have a website. We've never had a website. We've never needed a website. We've been, most people go to Yelp anyway. Check out our Yelp page. Just look us up and read the reviews.
Well, I set you up for that one because I know you don't have a website. So I want, and you've run a successful business for a number of years, 15 years. and you have not even needed the website. That's
Right.
how successful and well respected you guys have been food wise.
Yeah.
So with that being said, let's cause some people to maybe salivate long and enough to basically pick up the phone and call. The number is right there, and I'll show it in a minute again. But Olive Tree, I mean, you have an extensive menu, and like you said, your draw is that you do a special almost on a daily basis,
Yeah. So
right?
every day we have 2 specials, and Friday and Saturday and Sunday we have 3 specials.
Yeah, you don't do anything half-assed, do you?
No, it's we cook with love and we serve with love.
It's very true, and anybody who's been there knows that. Let me put up and tell me what it is that we're looking at here.
Okay, so that's our famous lamb shank plate. That's actually the most thing we sell in the restaurant here, and that's the reason why we got voted in the top 5 restaurants in all of Orange County.
Yeah,
So
I have enjoyed that multiple times at your
yeah,
restaurant.
those lamb shanks cook for 5 hours, literally, and
They fall
they
right
are
off the bone.
yeah, it's fall off the bone lamb, and there's no gaminess to it. That's the trick with lamb. Lamb is like duck. If you've ever had duck before, sometimes it's the best thing you've ever had, but if it's not cooked right, you'll never eat it again.
Right.
And our lamb is absolutely delicious. I mean,
So
it's very tender.
well, your lamb shanks are famous. I mean, that is like you're not exaggerating one bit when you say that's what made you like that's a signature dish for you guys.
Right.
What is it served on? Yeah.
So we do the lamb shanks every day. We change the rice every day. So we do a different type of rice from one part of the Middle East. It depends on what day of the week you come in.
Okay.
So
what is that rice that's on there now?
I can't see how clear that picture is because a lot of them have different spices in them.
Well, you send me the pictures, dude.
Yeah. I think that one is the Uzi rice. So Uzi rice we do this one on Tuesdays. This one has 15 different spices in it, not hot, but flavors. And it's cooked with ground beef, carrots, and peas. And you can get it with your choice of lamb shanks or half chicken. But the cool thing about that plate is it also comes with our signature cucumber yogurt sauce that's with it. And it just blends really well with it.
Yeah, but it mixes beautifully with that very spicy rice.
Right.
And the lamb with the cucumber and yogurt, the garlic. I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah. So whatever day you come in, just make sure you order a plate of this, and whatever the special rice of the day is, get that rice. It's really good.
Because the shanks, like you said, they're every day. And if you this is an opportunity. If you who are listening want to try the olive tree, and you are actually not necessarily vegan, like you can eat meat, I would say try the lamb. Even if you haven't tried it before, try the lamb shanks, because to Alan's point there, it is a safe place to sample and get familiar with lamb. It is not going to basically throw you off. And he's right. When the lamb is gamey, it leaves a very long lasting negative impression in your mind. So this would be the place to order lamb shanks. If you ever wanted to try lamb or lamb shanks, this is the place. I have had it enough times to tell you, this is the place. And if you don't like it, then you call me and let me know, and I'm going to say something is wrong with you. Okay.
Well, if you don't like it, tell me, and I'm happy to give you whatever you want.
That's true. You do. But you know what? If anybody doesn't like lamb shanks, I'm going to have excuse the pun, a bone to pick with them. Okay. So let me and I'll have plenty of bones, because that thing falls right off the bone. So go try it. Okay.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. Oh, pun intended for sure. I mean, I'm just getting hungry looking at that picture. So let's go to the next one, just to save myself from salivating on the air here. What is this?
So
Speaking
that's
of
our
people that are vegetarian.
Yeah, this is our vegetarian plate. This has 5 of our top appetizers. So it's got hummus, it's got baba ganoush, grape leaves, falafel, and tabbouleh salad. So this is a popular one with our vegetarians. It's not necessarily vegan because our baba ganoush has yogurt in it.
Right.
But we can easily switch that out for more hummus or something else that's on our menu.
Right, and your tabbouleh is very tasty.
Yeah.
And for somebody whose mother is Lebanese to say somebody else's tabbouleh is tasty, I mean, I hope my mother doesn't hear this podcast, but yes, your tabbouleh is very tasty. And so, by the way, are your falafel. And I am very picky about my falafel. So,
falafel.
Yeah, what do you do with your falafel? Let's just, how do you make your falafel? Because people make falafel differently.
Well, well, Rod, I'll tell you this. I can't tell you my secret, okay? But we do make it.
I tried. Okay, go ahead.
We'll make it with love. But like I said, part of your a restaurant being successful is making things fresh and cooking for the day and making enough food for the day.
Yeah.
That's the biggest part of it. So you can go to another place and have falafel, and it could be good, but if it's not fresh,
Right.
there's a difference. You know, even if I were to make my falafel and make falafel today and then, you know, cook it tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
the falafel is not going to taste as good as if I made it today.
No,
You
for
know?
sure,
So,
for sure, and also, I was just, I guess, what I was trying to bring to people's attention is that not all falafel are created equal. That falafel, the mix
right.
is specific to the restaurant, is specific to maybe the family, even how
Well,
it is.
not just that, Rod. A lot of people that are outside the Middle East try to get creative with Arabic food and try to like change things and say, you know, this is garlicky hummus or this is
You don't
garlicky falafel.
you don't like
Ours,
the chocolate hummus that's out there now.
chocolate hummus is not. That would never enter my restaurant, and I would never sell that.
Yeah,
It
you're
honestly, our food is authentic as back home. I mean, it's like eating at somebody's home.
yeah.
You know, our recipes are really authentic. We don't play with them. It's like going to a little place in Jerusalem and having some falafel. That's how it is.
Well, and then I know your mom and your dad. If you played with those recipes, you'd be in deep trouble.
I
So,
would, right?
yeah, right. But this, again, another option for you guys is to basically try the vegetarian plate or the falafel plate. Again, very tasty, and I am very. Anybody who knows me knows I'm very picky about my falafel. I mean, I will actually like nix a restaurant because of their falafel, right? So you got me on the shanks, you got me on the falafel, and then I got one more picture here.
All
Uh,
right.
and what is this?
Okay, so this is actually a very popular plate. This is mensef.
Hmm.
This is actually Jordan's national dish, and this is the shoulder of the lamb, and it's cooked in a hot yogurt broth. It's an acquired taste, but it's really good.
For how long is it cooked, Ellen?
So this one's about 4 hours. Okay, 2 hours it's cooked separately, and then 2 hours it's cooked in the yogurt broth. So it's very tender. It's not as tender as the lamb
Lamb
shanks,
shanks, yeah.
but it is also very tender. But when it's cooked in the yogurt broth and it's served on the rice, you also get the yogurt broth that the lamb is cooked in on the side as a side for extra yogurt. It's the most thing I sell on Friday and Saturday because I only do it on Friday and Saturday, and people come from all over for it. And you know, even though we have a lot of people that have copied our menu, we're known that this is the most authentic mensef in town.
Right.
It's,
And what is
it's
the rice?
delicious.
The rice looks different in this case.
So this rice, so the other rices that the other plates that with the lamb shanks is a basmati rice.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, they call it an Egyptian rice. So it's a small grain,
Mm-hmm.
and we make it in a way where it kind of sticks together a little bit, whereas the basmati rice is very loose.
Loose, yeah.
Right. So this is kind of like it sticks together, but with the yogurt broth that it comes with, and I hope this doesn't scare anybody, but it's actually goat yogurt. So it's a little bit thick, and it dries quickly.
Mm-hmm.
We actually have to process it here, so it comes in like a hard rock,
Which is known as
jamid.
jamid,
Yeah.
which
And
would which translates to almost like frozen or compact, right? I mean, the
or
word
dry.
the word yeah, the
Yeah.
word itself is that yeah, it's and then you basically process it. And when you say process it, what does that entail?
So you have to cook it with water. You have to break it down, and it becomes into a liquidy, kind of thick yogurt broth, and that's what we cook the lamb in.
But that is a very authentic thing to do. Like you cannot serve mensef really and say it's authentic mensef if you don't have the jmeed as part of it.
If the jamid is what makes it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it has to be authentic jamid, because we're not buying lamb from the Middle East. We're buying lamb from here.
Right.
And so if you don't have the jamid, forget it. Just don't even try.
I'm gonna put back the number for people. So hey, listen, coronavirus sucks. So call Olive Tree. call Olive Tree and get yourself lamb shanks, or if you're vegetarian, get yourself the falafel plate with the tabbouleh. It is something else. Or if you really want an authentic experience, order the mensaf with the jamid. And again, here's the number for everybody: 714-535-2878. They will get the food to you. This is not, by the way, this is not a light snack, people, right? This is a very full experience meal. It is, if I had to say what it would be important in terms of food right now, the word comfort food comes to mind right now. And this is definitely comfort food. It is not light. This is not something you eat and then you go run a marathon. But this is
Well,
definitely something that you is enjoyable and savoring every flavor that is probably not even something that you have necessarily experienced on a regular basis. Go ahead, Alan. What you were going to say?
when I'm driving around, like I see some of the I see some of the fast food places are, pretty busy. I'm hoping people are going to get sick of fast food and call me.
Well,
This-
again, Olive Tree Restaurant in Anaheim's Little Arabia. Mr. Alan Abdo is the owner. His father was probably walking in the background, so
It's
they
supposed
really.
to be retired, by the way.
Yeah, your retired father is. Yeah, yeah. I think it has to do with your mother. I think she told him you can retire, but at the restaurant you can't retire
Right?
at home. Right? Anybody who knows your mom. And there's the number again,
My mom's
everybody.
hashtag is hashtag staying home sucks. Go home,
Yeah.
go to work.
Oh, that and that was before the coronavirus, by the way,
Right.
right? Yeah. So, speaking of which, please give both of them my best.
Thank you.
And again, everybody, the restaurant is Olive Tree. It is in Little Arabia's, or Anaheim's Little Arabia. They are open. They deliver. Really, anybody that if you don't want to cook, I mean, we all are maybe cooking more than we usually do. But if you want to take a break, if you don't want to cook, support some of your local food restaurant, food purveyors. It is super critical, as you heard from Alan. They're really, I mean, they're operating at 15% of their daily, and it's a ripple effect. It's their employees, it's the vendors, it's the food purveyors. I want to ask you one thing, Alan, because I thought about this and then I forgot to ask you. Are you getting support from people that are maybe the food sources? Are you getting support from, like from the Grubhub and Uber, or is it have there been assistances, efforts made, or is it pretty much the same? And basically, you feel like you're fending for yourself.
I think everybody's fending from themselves. Everybody's worried about their business. You know, the we're not getting much support. We're not getting any support. The only support really I've gotten is, I post a lot on social media, and
Yeah.
we have some diehard fans, and and they've placed some orders, and some of them are trying to order as much as they can from us, and that's helping, and we certainly appreciate it.
Yeah.
And but I think it's too new still.
Yeah, it's
I
only
don't
been
know
one week.
Yeah, it's only been a week. I don't know what vendors are doing, but I think they're going to hurt just as much as we are. I mean, at the beginning, I go to Restaurant Depot and I get, certain things, and that's mainly for restaurants.
Yeah.
The line was around the corner. I mean, it was long. Now it's virtually almost empty.
Yeah.
And, I stocked up when I knew this was going to happen. I immediately went and stocked up on to-go boxes, all the to-go stuff I need. I didn't bar my normal, what I usually buy for the week. I went and bought like triple and quadruple what I usually get, because I knew I don't need my dishes and my forks and my spoons. Now I needed the utensils that we give that are usually to go down.
That's Alan's retired father right there,
Right.
delivering. This is a family business, guys, and you just saw it for yourself. So again, if you're not familiar with Olive Tree, then please, consider this an introduction. It is not maybe in the best circumstances to introduce the restaurant because of what's going on, but it's still, their food is amazing. And if you are familiar with them, then I'm hoping that you are already ordering, because again, regardless where you are, if it's not Olive Tree, all the restaurants that I have been talking to are dealing with the same realities. And again, to your point, it's just been a week, so I'm hopeful that the 30%, for example, from the delivery services, that basically becomes a little more sensitive to the plight of the restaurants. But again, we're all going to hurt. So it's going to be interesting to see how next week is like, and I'd like to check in with you maybe next week and see how that's been. You were going to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, what makes this easier is that I know I'm not the only one, and we're all talking the same story. And maybe I'm far from you, but if there's a place you like, support them, because you're not only supporting them, you're supporting the other people that work there.
Yeah.
I always tell people, we're 12 families or 15 families that live off this restaurant.
Right.
We make our money from this place. We pay for our kids to buy the cleats they need for soccer, or whatever lunch they need, or whatever outing they're going with their family. This was everything to all of us, including myself. I don't know if I'll be a restaurant owner when this is all.
And people that work in the restaurant business, they make do on tips. They make do on things of that nature that are basically now gone because
my
you can't congregate.
My server is like, I call them in to do like these deliveries, and people have been generous. They've been tipping a little bit more, and like I said, we didn't do deliveries before, but people are being generous, and he's coming back and he's happy, as happy as he can be. But the point I wanted to make is, if this was like I was the only person struggling in this business and in the restaurant industry, or my business is going down the tank and I was, depressed. The good thing about this is I know that I'm not the only one. And, I've talked to other restaurant owners, and we've shared ideas, and we've talked, and, everybody's been more open. Even the competition around me, people have we've talked, and we never talked before, because we all, it's the I don't know. And that's the scariest part about it. Like my dad built a name and I took it over, and, who knows, maybe we're done. Maybe I'm hanging onto a thread, and, maybe I'm going to be calling you and saying, hey, do you have any contacts? I need a job. Who knows?
Well, unfortunately, that will be the reality of a lot of people after during this.
I'm not the only one, and like everybody has their problems or what they're thinking about and the financial security they want. I recently got married 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I had a baby who's 14 months old, and my wife is pregnant. And I'm like, oh my God, what? What? How did this happen? How did overnight, literally, the day before they first announced the social distancing, every other table or 6 feet away. Right. And the day, when they did that, I was still okay. My sales were okay. And I'm like, okay, I'll be fine.
No more than 10 people.
Right. No more than 10 people. And I was okay. My sales were okay. But then when they said no more dine-in, literally overnight, I feel like I didn't lose it overnight, but I'm losing it slowly. And it's like I said, it's the I don't know that's.
No, I remember that moment. I happened to be in Big Bear, and it was in that weekend, and then there was all of this confusion because was it all dining? Were the bars closed and the restaurants closed? Were the bars open and the restaurants closed? Right. Was it mandatory? Was it a suggestion? Like I said, the way that this has been handled is, I understand that people are just rushing to get stuff handled, but there are ramifications to this kind of chaoticness, this emergency triage approach that we will feel for a long time.
Absolutely.
And I cannot even begin to imagine how that burden, that weight, that additional weight on you. It's a restaurant your father basically developed. You're taking over. That comes with a certain sense of responsibility and a sense of obligation. You got married. You have a young child. Your wife is pregnant. I cannot imagine what's going through your head on a daily basis, and yet you're still open. You're still trying to, do the best of it. And you know what? Good things happen to good people, buddy. And I'm hoping the best outcome for you in this. And I will again encourage everybody that if you are familiar with Olive Tree, that's another friend of ours down in South County. But if you're familiar with Olive Tree, if you're near the Anaheim area, Huntington Beach, Stanton, any of that space, please look them up. They're on Yelp. Alan does not need a website. He hasn't needed a website, so he's on Yelp though. There's a lot of good, yummy photographs on Yelp. Here's some of them again: the lamb shank signature dish, the vegetarian falafel dish with tabbouleh, hummus, and baba ganoush, and then the mensef, which is just an outstanding, very authentic Jordanian dish that they do very, very well. I suggest that you guys basically consider contacting them, maybe order once a week from them or something like that to help them stick it out um, while they're trying to hold on to not only their own survival, but everybody else that's associated with them.
Rad, one last thing.
Yeah.
You know, first of all, I made it onto the Rad Life. I wish it was under different circumstances. So I appreciate
People don't realize it. We've been talking about this for at least the last 4 years.
Right, yeah. So I'm finally on. Again, I wish it was under different circumstances. But just to make this fun and more entertaining, anybody that actually sees this and comes in and says, I saw you on the Rad Life, gets 10% off. You know, come see us, come say hi, you know, with 6 feet away. But order some food and tell me you saw us on the Rad Life. And you get
I'm going to order, and I'm not even going to pretend to be somebody else.
Right, there you go.
No, I will definitely be calling you this week and doing that. And we will put this thing out really soon here. I think your food speaks for itself. Your reputation speaks for itself. Hopefully, for many of us, that is something that sustains us through this. But it's definitely no small thing that we are facing. So we are all in it together, and as much as we can help each other out, I think that's really a good message to end this on. Thanks, Alan.
Thank you, Rad. I appreciate it.
I appreciate your candid sharing, because I think what you're going through is a lot of people can relate to that are in the industry or basically in any job really at this point.
Yeah.
So please say hello to your dad and your mom. Wish them the best. Stay safe. Stay healthy, my friend.
You too, my friend. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. You take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.